God, it's been a week from hell. Things started off on the wrong foot when they kidnapped the wrong girl, which only caused more problems. To make matters worse, they had a major setback, delaying their mission for a couple of days. But luckily, they managed to pull through in the end, having successfully taken down the people they were after. It's been a headache, to say the least. Theo's men had never failed him before. They've always been reliable and successful in their missions. But this, kidnapping the wrong person, was a first. How could his men be so careless, so foolish? But considering everything that's been going on, it's not surprising that he forgot that there was a certain surprise waiting for him at home. Theo stepped into his mansion, the usually grand and majestic home now dim and bathed in flickering candlelight. The scent of different scented candles filled the air, and Theo furrowed his eyebrows in confusion. What the He walked further into the house, eyes darting about in curiosity and surprise. With a raised eyebrow, Theo paused by a random candle, lifting it up to his face to take a whiff of the scent. The candle had a subtle, yet pleasant fragrance, almost familiar, too. Where have I smelled this before? Theo glanced over at his kitchen, and his eyes widened at the sight before him. With a frown, he hurried over to the kitchen, surveying the chaos with disapproval. The room was a complete mess, with dishes and pans everywhere, and cooking ingredients littering every single surface. What the hell happened here? It was apparent that someone had attempted to bake something, and messily, there were pots and pans filled with the remains of cake batter. Flour was spread across every surface, and a variety of cake ingredients were thrown everywhere. Who the hell was trying to bake? Theo's eyes narrowed in surprise as he noticed the person lounging by the pool in a robe that suspiciously looked like it was his. Theo groaned, running a hand over his forehead. Yes, he had told his men to bring you here as a guest. How could he have forgotten? He pinched the bridge of his nose and muttered under his breath, "Damn it." With a frustrated grumble, Theo grabbed a cookie from the counter and took a large bite. Even with his annoyance, he couldn't help but recognize that the cookie was, well, damn good. He quickly finished the rest of the cookie, wiping away the crumbs from his lips as he made his way outside, irritation still gnawing at him. As Theo stepped outside, the sight before him stopped him dead in his tracks. You were lounging by the pool, wearing his robe, cucumber slices on your eyelids, and a glass of martini by your side. What does she think this is? A 5-star resort? Theo walked slowly next to the pool, his gaze fixated on the glowing water. The pool glistened with an otherworldly glow, something he didn't remember it doing before. Wait, he mused, his brow furrowing in confusion. Since when does the pool glow like this? I didn't even know it could do all this. He glanced over at you, who was still lounging by the pool, and thought to himself, she's had a lot of time to play around here, huh? Theo turned to notice the bartender approaching, and sure enough, the man was carrying a martini in his hand, clearly for you. With a nod of acknowledgement, Theo took the drink from the bartender's hand, dismissing him with a grateful, "That will be all for tonight. Thank you." Theo then turned towards you, the glowing pool lights casting a soft, almost romantic ambiance on your form. You looked like a damn model at a 5-star resort. What the hell? Slowly, Theo approached, his eyes taking you in with subtle interest. He couldn't deny you looked damn good in his robe. Even a small part of him thought you looked better in it. But he quickly shook that thought away. He settled into the chair next to you, leaning back and taking a sip of the pink drink in his hands. He remained silent for a moment, simply studying you from the corner of his eye. Theo settled further into the chair, a smirk playing on his lips as he spoke. "Have you tried the indoor spa yet?" He knew damn well you had, but he wanted to hear it from your lips. "Bet you'd love that," he continued, the smirk growing a bit wider. Theo watched as you slowly shook yourself, rubbing your head like you had just woken up. A part of him couldn't help but find your sleepy state endearing, though he hid it behind his usual aloof expression. "Don't apologize," he replied casually, taking another sip of his drink. "You seem exhausted. Did you even sleep at all last night?" Theo raised an eyebrow at your groggy question, his smirk growing even wider. It was obvious you were still half asleep, and it was almost endearing to see you like this. He leaned forward a bit, a hint of amusement in his voice. "You're the one who's been lounging around my pool, wearing my robe, and you don't even know who I am?" Theo chuckled, amusement lighting up his eyes, as you quickly sat up and removed the cucumbers from your eyes. He could see the surprise and realization dawning on your face, and it was entertaining. "Look who finally woke up. I was starting to think you'd claim this mansion as your own." Theo noticed your nervous stumbling and tried to calm you down. "Easy there," he said, his tone softer now. "You're not in trouble. I didn't come here to scold you, just to supervise." He leaned back in his chair, keeping his gaze on you, studying your every move. Theo chuckled at your nervous apology, a hint of amusement in his eyes. He knew you were still trying to shake off the last bits of sleep, making your little comments even cuter. "It's okay," he replied, his tone still soft but with a hint of dry humor. "Cake batter is a lot easier to clean than, well, blood around here." Theo noticed the look of surprise on your face, and he quickly attempted to backtrack, not wanting to further alarm you. He raised a hand and laughed nervously, trying to alleviate the tension. "Nothing," he said a bit too quickly, "just joking. Totally joking. Don't overthink it." Theo took a slow sip of his drink, the alcohol leaving a slight tingle of warmth in his chest. He then looked around, a slight frown forming on his face as he questioned, "Where even are my maids?" He was used to his maids being around, always there to tend to his every need, but now the manor was unusually still and quiet. Theo's eyebrows raised in surprise at your confession. You had given the maids the day off? That was unexpected, but also oddly considerate. But then the weight of your comment sank in, and he realized something even more surprising. He looked at you with a mix of surprise and disbelief. "Wait, you caused all this in just one day?" Theo couldn't help but let out a soft chuckle at the mental image of you trying to cook and manage the mansion by yourself. It was cute in a way. He crossed his arms and leaned back in his chair, a slight smirk playing on his lips as he mused. "Oh, so you ran the whole mansion by yourself today? I'm almost proud." Theo finished the last of his drink, setting the glass down with a soft thunk. He studied the empty glass for a moment, before looking back up at you. "Oh, damn it," he muttered, a hint of guilt in his voice. "Sorry about the martini. I really needed this drink after my rough couple of days." He raised an eyebrow as he thought about the flavor of the drink. "What was in this?" "Pomegranate. I like it." He smirked, the corner of his mouth lifting slightly. Theo found himself returning your smile, his gaze lingering on your form as he glanced you up and down. He chuckled softly as he observed the robe you were wearing. "So," he started, a hint of amusement in his voice, "it seems like you found your way into my closet?" He paused for a moment, his expression growing slightly suspicious. "Wait, don't tell me. Did you sleep on my bed?" Theo chuckled at your flustered response, clearly enjoying your panicked attempt to deny the accusation. He leaned back in his chair, a smirk playing on his lips. "Relax," he said, his tone slightly amused. "I'm just messing with you." He paused for a moment, his gaze roaming over you once again, taking in the way the robe hugged your curves. "But you did go into my closet and put on my robe." Theo's smirk deepened. a hint of color rising in his cheeks as he processed your confession. You had donned his clothes, and something about the thought of you wearing his clothes made his heart skip a beat. He tried to maintain a composed facade, but a slight blush betrayed his usual cool demeanor. He chuckled softly, a hint of affection in his voice as he said, You wore my clothes? Love, you could have just used my card to buy clothes. I wouldn't have stopped you. I probably would have let you go wild with it. Theo chuckled lightly, imagining the sight of you rifling through his closet. But then another thought crossed his mind, and his expression shifted slightly. Gosh, he mused, raising an eyebrow. What did you wear? That closet mainly has suits. He paused for a moment, a hint of realization dawning on him. Wait, don't tell me. Did you wear my shirts? Theo shifted off his chair and turned towards you, his gaze softening as he observed your nervous state. He reached out a hand and gently touched your arm, trying to calm you down. Listen. How about I take you out tomorrow to get some new clothes? He paused, his thumb gently stroking your arm, almost as if it was a soothing gesture. Theo chuckled softly at your protests, finding your attempt to refuse his offer endearing. He held up a hand, silencing your words. Let me spoil you, he insisted, his tone firm but affectionate. I kind of feel bad knowing you had to wear my clothes and all. Tomorrow, it's all on me. He leaned in a bit closer, his eyes locking onto yours. No arguments. I'm taking you shopping.